From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
Welcome to You Should Know. I'm your host, Evelyn Ledbetter, and today is my guest. This is our Chamber Director of Roosevelt County, Stephen Hardin. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you.
Uh,
Happy to be here.
Nice to have you. So you're stepping into a new role.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting and a new time for you.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm pretty excited to be doing this. Carl Terry had been in this position for, I believe, 12 years or so. So it'll be an adjustment. I know for him. I know he's
Right.
looking forward to all his fishing trips and everything.
Well, Carl's done a really good job for the county and worked hard for a lot of years, so kudos to him. And he's actually kind of helping through the transition, right?
Yes, that's huge actually, because one thing that I really like especially for new jobs, is being able to have somebody there to walk you through it
Right.
and to say, okay, well, these are the way things are done. These are the way, um, kind of a rhyme and reason to things, and they can show you the ropes, and that is
Well,
one of the things that you don't get a lot of places.
no, a lot of places don't allow that. They basically one employee's out the door and all that knowledge goes out with them, and you're just learning from scratch, and all those years that they put into forming those relationships and friendships, you've got to start over.
Exactly.
So, well, tell me a little bit about you. Y you're local? Yes? Grew up here somewhat?
Yes,
Sorta.
more or less. I was actually born in Calcutta, India, and I was adopted when I was 5.5 months old. Uh, so I've been in Portales
Right.
basically my whole life. Um, with that, I went from preschool through high school in this community.
Okay.
So this is my home,
It
and,
is.
and it's really cool to come back here as well, because I moved away for a while for school and for teaching and all that kind of fun stuff, but moved back in 2017.
So back a little while. That's interesting. I mean, do you still have family or any connections to India?
No, actually, that's kind of as I've gotten older, I'm almost wondering how much was, if it makes sense, myth lore, from what my mom said. So my mom was a single parent. She
Okay.
adopted myself and another girl from India, and um, so the story goes, when I was born, I was abandoned on the street, and so I would die. And some
Mm,
nuns found me and took me to an orphanage.
okay.
So that's what I was told, and that's the only thing I know.
There's no history
There's no history of any family or anything like
documentation.
that. So it's kind of it's a weird place to be in, but it's, um, I guess it just kind of is. It is what it
It
is.
is what it is, but wound up here and had a great mom and
Hmm.
well, cool. We're lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
So, and your education. So you went to school here at Portales High School,
Hmm.
and then what happened after that?
So after high school, I had actually planned to join the Merchant Marines, because I heard you could work 6 months and basically make pretty good uh, amount of money. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I graduated when I was 17,
Okay.
and but that was about the time when we went to war. And I don't look like your typical American, I guess. So I didn't really want to go to war anyway. Um,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, Merchant Marine isn't exactly the same, but there's still a lot of things that are kind of around that.
Hmm.
So I didn't really want to be put in those situations,
Sure.
especially during that time.
Sure.
So then I ended up going to Lubbock Christian University, and I went there for a semester and decided that, still didn't really know what I wanted to do with everything, and ended up coming back to Portales. I worked quite a few places within the community, which is, in hindsight, was a really good thing for this position.
Right. I mean, you know a lot about the businesses and what makes this community work.
Hmm.
So.
And then I went to Eastern for about a month, I think it was. And so I was trying to get back in shape and all this fun stuff. So I ended up working out, playing soccer, all this fun stuff. And I went to the natatorium at a swimming class and started swimming, did some laps. My body gave out, and I was like, "Hey, help!" And they were like, "Oh, hey, cool. I guess it's hard to stay at the bottom of the pool." Um, I don't float when I swim. I just sink anyway. So,
Uh-huh.
but I was waving. I was like, "Hey, help me!" And then they waved back, and I kind of gave up, and I
Passed out.
yeah, I breathed underwater for just a few seconds, which was kind of cool, but super weird. And then yeah, I passed out and came to, and after that, did some life reevaluations, and ended up going to Ukraine and did some mission work for
Really?
about 2 months. And that was a really good experience to be able to meet new people and be basically involved in this whole other culture,
Mhm.
and learn the way they did things. And with this, I was teaching English
Okay.
using the Bible, so it was
Okay.
kind of a religious thing to an extent, but it was also a teaching thing, which is one of my other professions as well. So it
Okay.
was kind of a everything kind of coming together. So it was a really good experience that came out of something that was kind of weird with all that. So then, long story short, I ended up going back to Lubbock Christian. I got my undergrad there, and then I came back to Eastern
Mhm.
and got my master's here and actually worked in this studio. And while I was at Lubbock Christian, I came here and did my internship um, in this studio and got to work with the lights and the cameras and all this kind of stuff. And it was really cool. That's when my first contact with this department was actually Dwayne Ryan,
Oh.
and it
Well, you
was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what a treat. I mean, what a nice thing that you had that chance to work with him.
Yeah, he was really awesome. And the funny thing about that, it was through email, and talking to him, I thought he was some 30-year-old man,
Mm.
and then when I got here, he was not a 30-year-old man,
No.
but he had that kind of energy, which was really awesome. And being able to
Right.
work with him, and um, he was being able to help me be um, kind of what I've been working on through different careers and that kind of stuff with my speaking voice and things of that nature, and just being able to gain confidence in things. So that was really a huge blessing to come here for that, and then ended up coming here for my master's and worked in news and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's kind of right now is almost like coming home. So
Sure.
it's really a great thing to be here.
And Mr. Ryan's voice was just amazing, and, his speech, and he actually came to the university and worked in theaters when he first came here, so that's really nice that you have the background of having worked in then you wound up anchoring and all kinds of things on our News 3 that we produce with students.
Yeah, and that was great too because well, it was kind of funny as well. I always end up in kind of interesting situations, I think. I don't know why. So I did the tech director stuff, and then I was because for typically they want you to do both sides, so
Mhm.
you can kind of learn how everything works.
Right.
So I did that, and then I did I was at the anchor desk, and then I did sports. I really like sports as far as playing and that kind of stuff, but I don't have the attention span to follow anything. But I was reporting on sports. So I'd go and try to film games and stuff, but it would always, if they did the fake, they'd fake me out too. So then my camera would go, "Oh, hey, it's that way." And so then I have to come back and try to report on this stuff. And then so it's interesting. All the people that I worked with are actually all working in that field now.
Mhm.
They're all in pretty good markets now. So they were help. They were that was kind of a cool thing to work with such an awesome team. But so they would help write some of my stuff and show me how to do those things because again, sports stuff. So they was like, "Oh, this person did this and this and this," and I really didn't know what I was saying, but it was an experience for that too. So
I was watching the students last night on the news, and it was pretty cool. They came back in and did a recap afterwards, and it was some of the more experienced students were literally saying, "Oh, well, I can help you with that." I'll help you work on that. And it became like the students are teaching the younger students, and that's really cool to watch and say they've matured and learned things,
Hmm.
and then they're right in the midst of teaching and everything else.
And I,
So great program.
yeah, I think it's one of the best ways to learn anyway. A lot of times, because if you've been through a lot of the same things, you know what people are going through, so
Sure.
you're really in it with them, as opposed to coming in from the outside and
Hmm.
like, oh well, you should already know this or whatever. It's, hey, I've been through this, and
Right.
I can guide you, I can help you with this. We're on the same team, kind of thing.
Well, and you do. When you have kids that are in there for 4 years, they literally, if they gel and become their family and support each other, that's their world for a while. So, well, that's cool. And then you actually still, and then you've worked at the Christian Children's Home as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am. So I have a history there too. Uh, the children's home started in about 1954. So my grandmother worked out there in the 60s,
Okay.
and then my mom worked out there for about 25 years. And then my wife and I actually were house parents out there. And then I became the director over the house parents for a while, and then currently I'm the director of development, which
Okay.
is basically what I do for the chamber now.
Right. That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so with the home and everything, it's a really great organization,
Hmm.
and what our goal out there is to serve and to help as many um, people and as many demographics as possible. So youth homes, when you think of the children's home, you think of youth.
Hmm.
We have a single parent ministry. We have young adults, which is for 18 to 22-year olds,
Okay.
because we found that one of the demographics that really needs help is that age, because once you graduate, that's a hard age anyway. And then if you don't have that support,
Sure.
it's something that's needed. And then our new mothers is for pregnant women
Okay.
who need a safe place.
It's interesting how your life has taken you from having been adopted and then wind up back in a situation where you can help kiddos that are dealing with similar situations that you grew up with. So that's great, Stephen.
Y-
So, um, so tell me this: what got you motivated to want to work with the chamber?
Well, the first thing I even heard about was on social media,
Hmm.
and I saw the listing for it, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's more or less what I do currently at the
Sure.
children's home. I was like, well, let me kind of look into this.
Uh-huh.
So I did some research, and I knew some of the people over there and everything. So I reached out and asked about it, and I was like, hey, this might be something I could do. So I went ahead and applied and all that kind of fun stuff. And then once I did that, I started talking a little more and started going through the process to find
Hmm.
out more of the logistics about it.
Okay.
And it just seemed like a perfect fit, because again, Portales is my home.
Sure.
And one thing that uh, I really pride myself in, honestly, is relating and connecting with people,
Sure.
because I feel I have lot of experiences in a lot of different areas. And my mother, so she was 40 years older than me. So um, I was raised by another generation that's not typical for my age.
Hmm.
So I feel I relate to people in a different generation in that aspect, but also being in my own generation, and then also teaching at the college level, and then working at children's home. So being able to meet all these people in all these different areas, I feel that has prepared me to work with the community as a whole, because I can
You can relate.
relate. Yeah,
To
exactly.
to many, well, I'm similar, my mom was almost 40 when I was born. So there was things, she was a little bit older, and there was just things you learned from someone that, like you said, is more than almost 2 generations ahead of you.
Right.
But, so yeah, you do have a different way of relating to people and things like that, so and so obviously it came about and you have the position and have been in there just not even a month yet.
Yeah. So this is my third week. And so if I say anything that's incorrect, I apologize.
I apologize in advance.
Exactly. I'll do my best to say everything correctly, but I'm still in the process of learning things. And like I said, Carl is doing a fabulous job in helping me learn the ropes.
Okay.
But there have been we both got sick at different times, so the 3 weeks isn't quite 3 weeks.
Got
But
it.
with that, we've been putting in a lot of work in different areas, because not only is it the actual community aspect, but it's all the behind the scenes stuff.
Well, the relationships with other chambers and the
Exactly.
businesses and legislation, um, there's a lot to. So tell me this. Give me your view of what you would even describe. Like, what is the job description for the chamber director? That's a
It,
tough one, huh?
it is. I some of everything.
Yeah.
So with it, I mean, one of the main things is fostering relationships with the community and with the business community. Because one thing that's really important is being able to uh, have the community, and especially the businesses, feel valued and feel like somebody has their back. And part of that, like with our membership,
Hmm.
that's what we strive to do. We strive to, when you're part of the chamber, we want you to know that we're in this with you. Uh, being a being a small business
Well,
is difficult in general.
and you and your wife actually own a small
Yes.
business on the square.
Yeah. So we have Oliver's Emporium, and my wife, super proud of her, because she started this business a few years ago in front of her parents' business on just a table outside of it, and it blossomed into what it is today, actual brick and mortar building on the square. And so, we know firsthand what it means to sacrifice, what it means to really, put your soul into something.
Well, our town is what, about 12, 13,000, maybe 14,000, without the students at
Right.
Eastern, without that population. So a small town and the struggles, online shopping, we typically, it's easy to travel to another place within 100 miles to do a lot of your shopping. So supporting and getting people to shop local is huge.
Exactly. Eh,
And you have a proprietor, you have maybe one or two people from the family that maybe own that business. You need those resources that the chamber can provide to help
Right.
promote and get people in here to buy.
Exactly. And that's one thing that we're really trying to work on, because we want you to know, I mean, with with everything, there's going to be challenges. I mean,
Mhm.
with and Carl did a great job during COVID, especially. I mean, it's a new world now. I mean, post COVID, it's a new world in general. Everybody
Mhm.
knows that. And then businesses, got hit and all that kind of stuff. So with that, a lot of people are still recovering
Right, they are.
from that. And then businesses are the same, like you talked about, online and all that kind of stuff. And then being a small area, so there's already a lot of strikes kind of going up against
Right.
businesses in general. So at the chamber, we want to do our best to mitigate those strikes. We want to
Sure.
do our best to foster those relationships and be able to say, hey, we're here for you. How can we help you? And what do you need from us? So that's one of my things that I'm really going to strive to do, once I get more settled in a little more,
Mhm.
is going around to all the businesses saying, hey, what do you need? What do you want? What's worked? What hasn't worked? What can we do to make this work for you?
To help you.
Exactly.
And so to be able to join the chamber, I know membership's a huge deal,
It's huge.
because the funding, I'm not sure where the funding comes from for a chamber.
Yes. So the funding, that is huge. Um, the majority of our funding does actually come from membership, which is because we are a nonprofit, and so our membership is about probably 65-70% of our funding.
Wow.
So that is a huge thing. So to become a member, you can do a few different things. You can go online, portalis.com, and click on membership and join, and do that. You can call in, you can come by, all those kind of things.
Mhm.
There's different tiers with that, and with the different tiers, you'll be able to say, okay, well, At this amount, you can be from an individual to a champion, and then depending on what level you choose, will determine, just like with anything, will determine the best ways we can help you.
To match. And so you don't have to have a huge amount of money to become a member, but you get the benefits of the marketing and, I mean, there's some things that you've brought today and, um, the yearly magazine and
Mhm.
marketing and education, those sorts of things. We have some events that are held every year. Do you plan to continue with those?
Yes, most of them. I mean, we already have a lot of them slated. So I am coming in at kind of a interesting time frame
Mhm.
because a lot of the events for the year are already scheduled. And with that, and that's something I've learned in general, with anything. You want to come in and see how it's going, and be able to, again, see what works, what doesn't work, or how can you make things better if they need a
If
change.
they need.
Because a lot of times people come in and just say, "Hey, let's just change everything," and that's not necessarily a good thing, because if something works and it works well and there's no reason to change it, then you may not need that change.
Right, if it's not broken, don't mess that up.
Right.
So, but a lot of the venues and different things like that, the scheduling is probably already booked for this year, like you have the Heritage Day Parade, is that the
Yep.
next event?
The Heritage Days will be in July, I believe, and then we have the Peanut Festival in October,
Okay.
and then we have some other things before that. As far as venue and everything, it'll probably stay the same. But I was having a conversation yesterday about that. I'm just trying to see what the pros and cons of different places, because when we bring bands, vendors, all the community into all of these things,
Mhm.
we have to think about the best environment for that.
Right.
So with that, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then what can we do to make it the best experience for everyone involved.
Okay.
And with that, that's where I'm trying to figure out kind of my bearings, because no matter what, you can't please everybody all the
No,
time.
no.
So I want to say, okay, well, if say I wanted to move something, somebody won't like it, but somebody's like, "Oh, that's a
That's a
great
great thing.
idea." So we'll just have to kind of, and that's one big thing I've I found here, especially. Uh, we have a ton of meetings and a ton of committees, which is great, because we were talking about responsibilities and everything.
Sure.
There's a ton of stuff that's behind the scenes and that goes on, that's with the community, and that's um, with Canon and with Clovis
Sure.
and all this kind of stuff, because we try to work with Clovis as
Mhm.
much as we can, because after all, we're both close knit communities, and
Mhm.
we're, just
The proximity.
hop, skip, and jump away. So with that, we also don't want to compete in ways of events,
Mhm.
because hey, if we book both of our things on the same day, we're going to be pulling.
If you're gonna split that, neither one of you are gonna do nearly as well,
Right.
or combine efforts and things like that, so fill up beds here and there in restaurants at the same time.
Exactly.
So, well, and just you can learn with them, and if you have a good relationship, that helps both of you as well, and not
Right.
compete, but say, "Hey, we're in this. We're trying to do the same thing for our members."
Exactly, and that's how you learn too, because, like, especially myself coming in, I know the chamber director in Clovis. I think Ernie. I think she's been there for about 20 years. So that's something that's I can glean from,
Mhm.
because that experience. Hey, does this work? Does this not work in your experience? And she can say, okay, well, maybe this is what I tried. It's also, I mean, a 20-year difference too. Maybe
Mhm.
something that did or didn't work 20 years ago may or may not work now too. But having that experience and having somebody walk through those things, and be able to help you with those ideas, or to help kind of flesh things out, will I- is huge.
That old saying, "Don't reinvent the wheel."
Hmm.
If someone has already figured that out, you don't have to dig back into it,
Right.
so well, Stephen, we're excited to have you here, and I'd like to have you back as we continue to have more events and kind of promote some things, and KENW's part of this community as well, and you know, our coverage goes from Raton to Carlsbad basically, and so, you know, the community, that's what we're here to do, is not only partner with educating students, but, you know, promoting and providing a service and listening of radio and television for our community. So basically a public service of here as well.
Yeah,
But it's been really nice to have you, and time goes by fast.
it does.
So we'll have to get you to come back and talk to us in a few months when you get a little more grounded and get a feel for things and go from there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I really enjoyed my time here.
Well, it's been great. We prepped on this and enjoyed meeting you and everything else. So thank you.
Appreciate you.
And for all of you out there, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Cheers.